When Mia got accepted into a university in London, I thought it was the proudest day of my life. She'd worked so hard, late nights, scholarships, part-time jobs, all to chase her dream of studying architecture. I remember standing in the airport, watching her disappear through security. She turned back once, waved, and mouthed, "I'll make you proud, Dad." And she did. Or at least, I thought she did. Every week, she'd send me short texts. "Busy with projects, Dad," or "Going to class, love you." Sometimes blurry photos of her dorm room, a cup of coffee, London's gray skies. I missed her terribly, but I was happy. My daughter was building her future. Then, one evening, 8 months later, I saw her face on the news. Not as a student, but as a missing person. The news anchor's voice trembled slightly as she spoke. "Authorities are seeking information about a young woman identified as Mia Collins, last seen near the train station in Prague, Czech Republic." I froze. Prague? What was she doing there? Her picture flashed across the screen. My Mia. Same brown hair, same gentle eyes. But in the photo, she looked different, thinner, paler. My heart hammered as the reporter continued. "Sources say she may have been traveling under a different name." I grabbed my phone and called her, straight to voicemail. I texted her. Nothing. I even emailed her school in London. The reply came hours later. "We have no record of a Mia Collins enrolled in our program." The room started spinning. My daughter wasn't just missing. She might have never been in London at all. The next morning, I tore through Mia's old room. Everything was as she'd left it. Her favorite scarf, the photo of her and her mom before she passed, and the acceptance letter from the university. Only, when I looked closer, I realized it wasn't an official offer. It was a mock letter. The logo was wrong. The formatting, off. Had she forged it? But why? I called her best friend, Lily. "When did you last hear from Mia?" "Months ago," Lily said softly. She stopped replying. I thought she was just busy with school. Something in her tone cracked. Then she whispered, "Mr. Collins, Mia said she found something big, but she didn't want anyone to know." I didn't sleep that night. I sat in Mia's room, clutching the photo of her smile. Then I noticed the floorboard near her desk, slightly lifted. Inside was a small journal, wrapped with twine. The first page read, "If anything happens to me, don't believe what you see." My hand shook as I flipped through. Scribbles filled the pages. Notes about a man named Nikolai, an organization, and something about trafficking routes through Europe. My stomach turned. My little girl wasn't just missing. She was in danger. The last entry stopped my breath cold. "Meeting Nikolai tomorrow. He promised information. If I don't make it back, tell Dad I'm sorry." The next morning, I went to the police. They listened, took notes, but their faces said it all. They didn't believe me. So I did what any desperate parent would do. I booked a ticket to Prague. 2 days later, I was standing in front of the city police department, clutching Mia's photo like a lifeline. An officer named Petra listened carefully. When she heard Mia's name, her face darkened. "You're not the first person to ask," she said quietly. "We've been investigating a group targeting young women under the pretense of scholarships and study programs." My blood ran cold. Petra sighed. "We found evidence she was here, under the name Anna Novak. She was last seen leaving a hostel near the river." "Is she still alive?" I whispered. Petra hesitated. "We're not sure. But there's someone you need to meet. Petra led me through narrow streets to a small cafe. In the corner sat a man with tired eyes and a scar across his cheek. "This is Thomas," she said. "He knew your daughter." Thomas looked at me and nodded. "Mia. She was brave. Too brave." He told me she'd come to Prague, chasing a lead, a group posing as an international student foundation, luring women abroad, then vanishing them into trafficking rings. She wanted to expose them, Thomas said. I warned her to stop, but she wouldn't. I felt my knees weaken. My daughter wasn't living a lie. She was living a mission. Then Thomas handed me a flash drive. She gave me this before she disappeared. Said if anything happened, her father would come. That night, I sat in my hotel room, heart pounding as I opened the flash drive. Inside were video clips, shaky, grainy recordings of meetings, phone calls, shadowy figures exchanging cash. In one video, Mia's voice whispered, "They think I'm just another recruit, but I've recorded everything. If you're watching this, Dad, please forgive me." Tears blurred my vision. My daughter hadn't lied to me. She'd protected me. In the final clip, she was walking through a dark alley, whispering to her phone, "I'm about to meet Nikolai. If this goes wrong, tell Dad I love him." The footage ended there, and then a faint reflection in a window caught my eye. Behind her, a man's face. I paused the video and zoomed in on the reflection, a man with a distinctive birthmark under his eye. The next morning, I showed it to Petra. Her eyes widened. "That's Sergei Makarov," she said, "one of the most wanted traffickers in Eastern Europe. We've been hunting him for years." I swallowed hard. "Then Mia found him first." Petra nodded grimly. "And that's what got her taken." Every part of me screamed to do something, anything. Sitting around waiting wasn't an option. So I made a decision. If the police couldn't find my daughter, I would. Thomas warned me not to go alone. "These people don't play fair," he said, "but there's a safe house. Some of us, we help those who escape." That night, we visited the safe house, hidden behind an abandoned factory. Inside were women, scared, bruised, silent, survivors. One of them, a young girl named Lila, looked up when she saw Mia's photo. Her eyes filled with tears. "She helped me," Lila whispered. "She distracted them so I could run. They took her instead." I froze. "Do you know where?" Lila nodded weakly. "Warehouse near the old harbor. That's where they take the new girls." I turned to Petra, trembling but determined. "Then that's where I'm going." The harbor smelled of salt and rust. The night was thick with fog. Petra and a small task force followed, waiting for backup. But I couldn't wait. I crept closer, heart pounding. Through a crack in the wall, I saw cages, real cages, and the faint sound of crying. Then I saw her, Mia. She was thinner, her face bruised, but it was her. She was alive. Before I could shout, Petra pulled me back. "We go on my signal," she whispered. Then a gunshot rang out. Chaos erupted. Men shouted, alarms blared, and in the confusion, Mia's eyes met mine through the bars. For the first time in months, we both knew we hadn't lost each other yet. The moment the gunshot echoed, the world turned into chaos. Petra's team stormed the warehouse, shouting in Czech, lights flashing, sirens wailing. I barely heard them. I only saw her. "Mia!" I yelled. She turned, confusion and disbelief in her eyes. Then, suddenly, rough hands grabbed her, dragging her deeper into the shadows. I ran inside, ignoring Petra's screams to stay back. My lungs burned, my heart thundered, but I couldn't stop. A man aimed a gun at me. I froze, until a flash of light blinded us both. Petra tackled him from the side, shouting for backup. In the corner, Mia was fighting to free herself. I rushed to her, cutting the zip ties with a broken knife. When she fell into my arms, she whispered, "Dad, you shouldn't have come." But I already knew. There was no place else I could ever be. We ran through the maze of crates and broken glass, guided by the sound of police sirens growing closer. Mia stumbled, weak from exhaustion. I wrapped an arm around her, half carrying her toward the exit. Then, a figure stepped out from the shadows. Sergei Makarov, the man from the reflection. He smirked, raising his gun. "You just couldn't leave well enough alone, could you?" Before he could shoot, Petra appeared behind him. "Drop it!" she shouted. But Sergei didn't listen. A flash. A bang. Petra fired. When the smoke cleared, Sergei lay on the ground, the weapon slipping from his hand. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. Then Mia looked at me with trembling lips. "It's over, isn't it?" I wanted to say yes, but deep down I knew the wounds we carried would take much longer to heal. The next morning, I sat beside Mia's hospital bed. She was asleep, her wrist bandaged, IV line running to her arm. For the first time in months, she looked peaceful. Petra entered quietly, holding a folder. "We found her passport, fake IDs, and that flash drive you gave me," she said. "Your daughter's evidence helped us break open a major case. Dozens of women are safe because of her." I looked at Mia, my heart swelling with pride and heartbreak. "She didn't just study abroad," I whispered. "She tried to change the world." Petra smiled faintly. "She did." Then she handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter, addressed to me, Mia's handwriting. I hesitated before opening it, and when I did, I realized it was written before she disappeared. "Dad, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't tell you the truth in person. I'm sorry I lied about London. I had to. The people I'm after are dangerous, and I couldn't risk you getting involved. Mom once told me that truth is worth fighting for, even if it hurts. I couldn't stand by while others were being tricked the same way. I promise, when this is over, I'll come home and we'll rebuild everything together. Until then, please don't hate me. I'm doing this because you raised me to care. Love, Mia." Tears dripped onto the page. All the anger, fear, and confusion I'd carried for months melted into something else. Understanding. My daughter hadn't abandoned me. She'd become braver than I ever imagined. Mia woke up that evening. Her voice was weak, but her eyes were clear. "I didn't want you to find out like this," she murmured. "I just wanted you safe," I said. She smiled faintly. "You always did." Over the next few days, Petra and her team worked around the clock. They arrested 7 men connected to the trafficking ring. News outlets flooded the story. American student helps dismantle European trafficking network. But none of them knew the cost. The fear, the nights Mia had spent hiding, the people she'd lost along the way. When a journalist asked her how she'd found the courage, she simply said, "Because someone once told me that if you see wrong and do nothing, you become part of it." That someone, I realized, was me. 2 weeks later, we flew home together. The airport felt different this time, heavier somehow. Mia held my hand as we walked through customs, both of us quiet. When we stepped into the arrival hall, friends and neighbors were waiting, cheering, crying. Lily ran up and hugged her tight. "I thought you were gone forever." Mia smiled through tears. "So did I. At home, the smell of old books and coffee greeted us. I'd left her room untouched, but now it felt alive again. She looked around, running her fingers across her desk. Feels like another lifetime, she whispered. It is, I said softly, but it's still yours. She nodded, eyes glistening. Then maybe it's time I start a new chapter. Healing wasn't easy. Some nights, Mia woke up screaming. Other nights, she sat by the window, staring into the dark, lost in memories she couldn't share. I didn't press her. I just sat beside her, sometimes in silence, sometimes with a cup of tea. One night, she said quietly, "They took a lot from me, Dad, but I won't let them take my kindness." That line broke me. So I asked, "What do you want to do now?" She looked at me with determination. "I want to tell their stories. The girls who never made it back. Maybe, if the world knows, it won't happen again." It was the first time in months I saw the spark return to her eyes. The same spark she had when she first dreamed of studying abroad. Months passed. Mia started a small foundation, Project Dawn, dedicated to helping survivors of human trafficking rebuild their lives. She spoke at universities, shelters, and international conferences. Her voice trembled sometimes, but her message never did. "Bravery isn't the absence of fear," she told an audience once. "It's choosing to act despite it." Every time I watched her speak, I saw not the frightened girl from that warehouse, but a woman who had turned her pain into purpose. And in every survivor she helped, I saw a reflection of the daughter I almost lost. One evening, as we were cleaning out old boxes, Mia handed me a small USB drive. "What's this?" I asked. She smiled softly. "The rest of my recordings. I couldn't show the police everything. Some of it's personal." When I plugged it in, I found short clips. Mia laughing with the girls she'd met, comforting them, teaching them English, helping them write to their families. In one clip, she looked straight at the camera. "If I don't make it home, tell my dad I wasn't scared. I knew he'd find me." I couldn't hold back the tears. Even when she was lost, she'd carried faith, not just in herself, but in me. A year later, we stood together at a small memorial in Prague, a plaque bearing the names of victims who never returned. Mia laid a white rose at its base. Petra stood beside us, smiling quietly. "She saved lives, more than she'll ever realize." Mia turned to me. "You saved me too," she said. "Not just that night, every time you believed in me." I looked at her, stronger, wiser, and yet still my little girl. "I thought I'd lost you," I said. She smiled. "You never did. You just had to find me again." As the sun dipped behind the old city skyline, I realized something profound. Sometimes, life takes everything from you just to give it back in a different form. And in that moment, I didn't see a survivor or a victim. I saw a hero, my daughter.